up, fill my eyes with wonder. Forever young in your love, this freedom's untainted. With you, no moment is wasted.
Hey everyone, Pastor Mike here, and thank you for tuning in, and welcome back to Amplify Youth here in Phoenix, Arizona.
In the Savior I am found. This is living now. This is living now.
Okay, so if you have your Bibles out, turn to Numbers 18. Numbers 18. So, by the way, let me just say something real quick. I noticed this when I was watching you guys play your games and stuff, but you guys all look great today. Can I just say that? You guys look awesome. You know? You guys look great. No, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being serious. Everybody comes in, you got hair done up like Fabio back there. You got backwards hats. You got soccer jerseys. You have Cactus Cobra shirts. You know? You got, I don't know what that is, Young Life? What is that? Yeah, Young Life shirt. You guys just look great. You guys look great. What'd you say? Oh, okay. All right, so again, tonight we are jumping into our first week of our 3-week challenge. Again, I already said it, but we're doing a challenge called a 30-70 lifestyle change. Okay, a 30-70 lifestyle challenge. And it'll make sense as we go what the 30 and 70 means. But throughout these next 3 weeks, again, we're going to hit on tithing, we're going to hit on offering, and we're going to hit on self or life sacrifice, okay? Which, again, it all makes sense once we start really diving in. But tonight we're going to hit on tithing. So first, let's read some word and go from there and unpack what tithing is. So Numbers 18:28 says, you must present 1/10. Numbers 18:28, you must present 1/10 of the tithe received from the Israelites as a sacred offering to the Lord. This is the Lord's sacred portion, and you must present it to Aaron the priest. Bow your heads, close your eyes, let's pray. Lord, I thank you for your word. Lord, I thank you for this holy Bible, this perfect written out plan and schematics and to-do lists for us and how we can get through this life. Lord, I pray that everything we do, that we do it to glorify you, Lord. And I pray, again, that right now in this time will not be a time of mental assent or getting smarter, but actually growing closer to you in a relationship. Lord, and I thank you so much for making the Arizona Cardinals the next Super Bowl champions. Amen. All right, so what is tithing? That's the question. What is tithing? Tithing is giving God the first 10th of your increase. Giving God the first 10th of your increase. So if you're taking notes, that's what tithing is. In the Old Testament, most tithes were given by food, by crops, things like that. But nowadays, obviously, tithing is going to be your finance, right? Because that's what we kind of see an increase is our finance. So tithes requires, is actually back in the day in Old Testament, is required by the Masonic law that they had to. But again, we're going to unpack this and see that it's not have to anymore. As a New Testament Christian, it's more of a want to. And I pray that after tonight, you'll be like, wow, I totally get it. And yes, I want to. So if we go back to the Old Testament, we can actually see reference to this by Abraham. He was actually the first one to give tithe. And if you're writing notes, I want you guys to write this down and go back to it. But it's Genesis 14, verse 17 through 20. And I'll just kind of give you a little synopsis of what it is. You'll see here that Abram was coming back from a battle of victory. And he was actually heading over to Sodom. You guys know the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? So, no? Okay, if you haven't, we'll talk about that one day. But he was going back to the city of Sodom, and he was actually stopped by the king of Salem, and the king of Salem gave him food and wine. And so because of that, he blessed him. He blessed Abram and said, God will provide and give you more and so on and so forth. Well, then he turned around and gave the king of Salem his first 10% of all the stuff he got from that battle. Okay, so that's one of the first times you'll see in the Old Testament of someone giving their first tenths. But I'd like to go back even further, and hopefully some of you guys, if you don't know the story, it will be just an eye opener. But if you even go further back into Genesis 4, you'll actually see an encounter with God and Cain. Everybody know the story of Cain and Abel? And in this story with Cain and Abel, God came to Cain, and it came to Cain and Abel and asked them to give them their first, or an offering, a tithe of what they have. And Cain gave his percentage or his offering, and God rebuked him. He was actually mad. I mean, he was angry at him. And then you have Abel, which Abel actually gave a little bit more, and he was totally happy with him and loved Abel for doing that. But in the end, you find out that Cain, because of that, was jealous and had envy and actually killed his brother. You guys remember this story now? It was actually one of the first killings in the Bible. Which right there, I can actually preach on that, which maybe in a couple of weeks we may do that and talk about envy and jealousy and what it can do to you. But at the core of tithing, and if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. At the core of tithing, there's many different issues. But today I want to hit just 3 of them. The first one is trust. The second one is redemption. And the third one is storehouse. And you're going, storehouse. What is storehouse? In other words, church. Okay? So you have trust, redemption, and church. So first, let's go into trust. God trusted us with what is his in the first place. So you got to remember that. When you guys get to an age where you start going to work and you start making money, you got to realize that finances that you guys have, the things that you have, was his first. And once you really realize that, tithing and giving a 10% or even your offering, things like that, is going to be a lot easier. Okay, you're going to go, wow, this really isn't mine to begin with. Well, I'm blessed that God actually gave this to me. That's going to be easy. 10%, that's nothing. So that's one thing that we need to really get into our heads and realize that this first was God's. And we'll go back to Numbers 18:28, talking about how this was his sacred portion. Again, you must present 1/10 of the tithe received from the Israelites as a sacred offering to the Lord. This is the Lord's sacred portion, and you must present it to Aaron, the priest. This sacred portion is entrusted to us, and we are to return it to him. So again, we talked about the first one is trust. God trusts us with the portion that he already have. He trusts us with our finances. He trusts us with our things. And for us to go, okay, you trust us, so let me trust you. I'm going to give you 10%. And what's cool is that we get 90%. So as you guys can kind of see where this 30-70 is going with, we're talking 10% right now. So that would be 10, right? In the next 2 weeks, we're going to figure out what the other 20 is. Okay, so you guys kind of following with me and how this works out. So number 2, the second thing is tithing teaches us redemption. Wait, what? Redemption. Catch this. The tithe is the first 10th of the first fruit of our increase, right? Who is Jesus Christ to God? His first fruit. He gave us Jesus. He gave us Jesus that came to here to wipe out all the old sin, which you talk about Adam and Eve, the ultimate sin, and all of our daily sins. He gave his first. So every time that we go and we tithe, and again, I know where you're at right now, you're going, Mike, I don't make money. I don't have a job. But you will. And this is a good principle right now to learn, is that when you tithe, it's not just, okay, here's money, but that's actually a form of worship. When you tithe, you're recognizing and you're agreeing with God and going, okay, I know what you did. Thank you. I've been redeemed because of Jesus, because you gave me your first. You gave me your everything, and now I'm redeemed. That's that scandal of grace. And so when we tithe, again, it's not just going, I tithe and hope to receive something, better finances or new shoes or anything like that, but it's just a form of worship and remembering what he did for us. So, again, number 2 is redemption. And what I find is really crazy is that many people believe that we shouldn't have to follow this. We shouldn't have to follow tithing. And I may step on some people's toes, but this is just me, and you guys know how I am. They feel that's an Old Testament rule. They feel like it's something that's over. We now live in the New Testament. We now live in a new way, a new law. But again, it's not about the law. It's not about what we have to do. It's about the remembrance and the acknowledgement of what he did. That's why we tithe. We tithe to remember, wow, I've been redeemed because of what he did for me. That's amazing. So, and that also brings on discovering the grace of God, which I hit that. But number 3. So number 2 was redemption, right? Number 3, the last thing I would mention about tithing is this. Tithing was brought to the priest as for the priest or the storehouse or the church. So has anybody ever in here ever asked themselves, like, whatever happens to the tithe? You know, I remember at your age, I'm like, okay, my parents are tithing. Whatever happens to it, like, what does this go to? Is it just like go into a safe somewhere or go into a bank and just kind of adds up? Or is it like literally God's like amazing hand comes down and grabs it and like disappears into the sky? Like, I don't know what happens to this. It goes into a storehouse, which is really cool, which again, we know as the local church, as us, as the Fountain, as the Baptist church down the street, as the massive church that we know as a CCV. It goes into the local church, and what happens is that the tithe, yes, it does help with the local pastors and preachers, and it helps them live life so that they can free up other things and do this, and go out and disciple and make people know the Lord. But it also helps ministries. Okay, tithe that's been brought from on a Sunday morning helps us. You know, we have, I don't just make millions and millions of dollars to be able to, you know, buy all this stuff and give you guys money and buy all that stuff and take you on trips. That actually stuff, the money comes from your parents. It's a tithe because they see the importance of what you guys are worth in your life and your future. So that's another thing to look at. And then lastly, so we talked about, again, it goes towards, you know, helping preachers and things like that, helping ministries. The last one is missionaries. Okay, it helps missionaries. It helps where we can take this money and we can send it out across the world to people that are literally, guys, and you know, Ashley reminds me of this every single day. We are privileged to be able to practice our faith every day here. But we have missionaries that are in other countries that literally have to go underground about their faith. We have other people, the other believers, other Christians that are literally getting killed, and I don't have to get into specifics, but they're being murdered. They are becoming a martyr for Jesus because of their faith. So we are privileged for that. We are privileged to be able to practice our faith knowing that if we walk outside these doors, we're not going to get killed for our faith. But that tithe, that money that we, as you guys grow up and become adults, and what your parents are doing now, giving, is that we take this money as well and we give it to missionaries that are on the front lines, that are willing to sacrifice their lives. They're willing to sacrifice their freedom here to go over there and say, you know what, there's a need over here. There's people over here that may have never even heard of Jesus. There's people over here that need to know his love. That all they know, they wake up every morning and they hear bombs and buildings being blown up and people being killed and things like that. They need to see something or know someone that's so much better. That's what your tithe goes towards. Your tithe goes towards the bigger picture, which is kingdom. Your tithe goes towards Jesus' work. Your tithe goes not just to you and just to me and this building, but the larger thing is that's kingdom work. That's to spread the gospel. That's to spread the love of Jesus. So as you guys grow up, and again, I know this is kind of like, it's not like a really funny thing it's kind of hard. You know, it's kind of hard to bring it to you guys in a way that's very humorous or anything like that. I was put here to educate you guys in a way that when you grow up, you don't get lost. You guys have heard me say that, right? Is I was put here so that when you get to a certain age, that if stuff like this happens, you're not just going, ooh, I don't know. So I feel like this is a very foundational thing that we need to go through. So when you get older, you're going, okay, now I know where this tenth of surplus, this tenth of the thing that God's given me is going to, and it's going to spread the gospel. Let's just be real about it. But when we go any further, I want to do something real quick. We're going to have 3 different jars. Where did that bucket go? Over here. Throughout these next 3 weeks, and again, I talked about this saying this is our 30-70 lifestyle challenge. Okay? And this is going to be a challenge that we will keep as a youth group for here on to eternity. As long as myself and Ashley are here as your youth pastors, this challenge is going to be an ongoing thing. In these next 3 weeks, we'll build up on this. But this bucket here is going to represent your tithe. If you're someone in here that already tithes on Sunday morning, you have a job that you tithe on Sunday morning, keep doing that. But if you do it in here, it's going to go to the same place. So it's all up to you, okay? But we're going to have 3 different buckets. Again, this first one is tithe. And I know some of you guys don't have money to tithe. That's fine. But if you have an allowance, let's be real. If you have a $20 or $40 a week allowance to go towards food or just fun stuff, maybe you do work around your house and your parents give you $1 for taking the trash out. I don't know what it is. That to me is your income. So that's what you would tithe. Again, this is not an offering. This would be a tithe. And then next week, we'll put another bucket out here. This other bucket is going to be offering, which we'll unpack that and tell you exactly what offering is, which hopefully will blow your mind. It'll blow your socks off. And then after that, we're going to put another bucket out. And that third bucket, again, is going to be something in your life that you're going to sacrifice. An example, maybe you just don't do Facebook for a week. Maybe you make an intentional moment every morning. You wake up 10 minutes, 15, 30 minutes earlier than normal and get in the Word first. But we're going to give you cards. And in those cards, you're going to put in that third bucket. You don't have to put your name on it because guess what? I don't need to know. It's between you and God. But you writing down and making a physical action saying, you know what, I'm writing this down, I'm going to put it in here, and I'm giving it to God. I'm sacrificing this thing in my life. Here it is. There's going to be spiritual breakthrough. So that's why we're doing this. So these buckets will always be back here in the sound booth. They're going to be up on the sound booth wall up there. As you walk in, drop your tithe. As you walk in, drop your offering. As you walk in, grab a card, write it down, boom, and put it in there. Again, this is something part of our life, part of Amplify, that's not going away. This is something that's been on my spirit for probably 2.5 years, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. I wanted to have fun with this. I wanted to make it interesting. But you know what? It came to me, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. I'm an adult. I have finances, and I have bills, and I have things in my life that I got to put money towards, and I have a family to put food on and the table, and my son drinks like 3 gallons of milk every week, and it's out of control. But it's a challenge for me for finances, and it's a challenge for me for offering. When it comes to offering, that's going over and above. Again, we'll unpack that. And then it's a challenge for me to make a point every single day to say, I'm going to sacrifice this one thing. And I think, again, if we make a physical action where we drop it in, it's going to not only say, okay, spiritual breakthrough, physical action, but you're going to have yourself be checked. Like, okay, God, I did walk forward and I dropped that in there. I did write that down and I dropped it in there. Okay, I'm going to do it. So whatever that is. So tonight we're gonna do a tithe. And tonight I'm going to leave it up here. So if I catch you putting your hands in here and taking money, I'm going to chop them off. I'm just kidding. But I'm going to put it, yeah, I should, huh? No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. I'm going to leave it right here for tonight. Okay? So a tithe, again, is the first tenth of what God has given you. Okay? Again, it's not yours. Even if your parents gave it to you, let's be honest, let's be real, it's not yours. Okay, it's His. And if in your mind you can get that straight now at your age, by the time you're my age, by the time you're 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, you're going to go, whoa, this is awesome. This is amazing. This is something to celebrate. I get to give only 10% and God gives me the rest? Like, that's amazing. Like, really? That's crazy. But what's cool is it doesn't stop there. It keeps rolling. It keeps going on. Trust me. You're going to go, okay, 10%. I'm just going to throw a number out. I gave $1. But wait, we're going to give money to this cause for offering. Here's $2. And then you're going to go, okay, what can I give to God this week? Oh, you know what? I'll just drop Instagram for a week. I'm going to do that. I'm going to give that, and you're going to see stuff change in your life, like miraculously changing in your life. Things are going to go crazy. We talk about going out for president. Here's the deal. God already knows what's going to happen. It doesn't matter how well you speak up here in front of someone, and I'm going to change Cactus. If that's not what God's plan is, that's not going to happen. But if you start doing physical and then spiritual breakthroughs, and he sees that, oh, wow, okay, I'm going to give her this platform because she's going to make a difference for me, it's going to happen. See where I'm going with that? Guys, and that's in your life. That's every part of your life. So if it's not Stu-Co, is that right? Did I say it right? Okay. If it's not Stu-Co, it's your sports, it's your dance, it's your cheerleaders, it's your gymnastics, it's your band, it's your color guard, is there anything else out there? What is it? Singing, your amazing instrument that God gave you. Dancing, and okay? All that stuff. He's just going to make it better. Okay, he's going to make it better. He's going to make it better. He's going to make it better and bigger and louder and nicer, more attractive. People of the world in the dark, which we talked the last 2 weeks, are going to be like, what is going on with that person? Last week, yeah, they spoke great, but now I'm like, I can't get enough. Or, man, their voice last week was awesome, but now it's like, oh, heaven to my ears. It's like amazing. Man, you guys are dead today. Usually you make you, I kind of get a laugh out of that one. Thank you. All right, so that's the end of this, okay? That's the end of this. Next week, we're going to talk about offering, okay? We're going to talk about how it differs from tithing. But we're going to break it up into small groups. Before we do, we're going to pray. Yeah, we got 15, 20 minutes. 14, sorry. Got 14 minutes. We're going to break it into small groups. Before we do, I'm going to pray for you guys. Okay? I'm going to pray for something a little bit different than I normally do. But I want to pray for something that, for the Holy Spirit to come over you guys in a different way. But let me just pray. So everybody close your eyes, bow your head.
You lift me up, fill my eyes with wonder.
Again, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our page. See you next week, and God bless.
See the sun now bursting through the clouds, black and white, turn to color all around. All is new in the Savior I have found. This is living now.